Hello all, and welcome back to the First Impressions, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm HighPriest, and this is like the 7th time I've recorded this, because I recently switched to a new computer. Better able to handle the stuff I want to do, but got problems. Mostly the problem is I had to redo all the settings, and it's been like over a year since I first fiddled with that shit, so I have no idea. So I made some mistakes here now. Right, okay. So, preface. Repeating everything I've basically said again. Guardians 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not only that, but it's also, of course, my favorite movie in the MCU. So, of course, this movie had a lot to live up to. Do I think it did? I don't say it was better or even as good as the original Guardians movie, but it's still a fantastic movie. Like, if the old one was a 9.5, this is an 8. Solid 8. So, great movie. I mean, the humor was there, the action and the seriousness were mostly there. A lot of the characters got some chance at growing and depth, exploration, and shit like that. Even characters who didn't in the original movie will show up here. Got some character development, so that was pretty great. And, man. So yeah, no. And of course, the music is just as good as the musical charm is just as good as the original. Right. Excuse me. So, now that's done, let's just get to the spoiler part of the review. I'm just noticing a delay in the image. I'm not sure what's up with that. The delay on what I'm seeing on the screen, because I don't remember seeing that before, but that's a side point for the review. So, right. So, the movie, of course, opens with the car driving a pretty nice car, a really nice car, driving along the road, and in it are Peter Quill's mom and dad. Now, at this point, I knew there was something up with his dad. I just couldn't remember the details. I couldn't remember what he was in the last movie, or if they just talked about him being something powerful. But, I do know that, sorry. I do know that, I do remember it being mentioned outside the movie, so maybe. But at the time of watching it, at that point in the movie, I had actually forgotten that. I just knew he was important in some way. Right. But yeah, after showing off a strange flower, that's dumb. Flesh flower, that's better. That should describe it, because while outside it looked like a strange plant, on the inside there's some form of, animal matter. And at that point I just thought he was some sort of universal gardener or something, trying to spread his evil plants across the galaxy, because you know he'd get to be the film. And I was right, but about him being the evil villain, and sort of right about him being the evil gardener. But yeah, we cut to the Guardians taking on a new job. Yeah. Saving the day and shit. For most of the fights off screen, because we get to see Baby Groot dance, and that is entertaining. And I think the entire sequence is actually well done from a director perspective, because you know the humor and action were both big parts of the last one, and it's a good way of bringing you to reaffirming that yes, those are still here. But yeah, they managed to beat the giant space monster and collect their pay, which is actually Nova, Amy Pond. I just call her Amy Pond now. Amy Pond, Gamora's sister. They are aboard the ship. They get attacked because Rock... Oh, I almost forgot the moment that made me laugh my ass off. Of course, while they're collecting their pay, the High Priestess of the Sovereign flirts with Peter, and it's hilarious. I lost my shit when that happened. By that I mean I laugh a lot. But yeah, they left. They got attacked by the VR fleet, the game arcade fleet, whatever you want to call them. I'm not calling them the Sovereign fleet because but yeah, the Golden Asshole fleet. That works great. But yeah, they managed to barely escape because Rocket Raccoon and Rocket and Peter are fighting over who's better pilot. They crash, more fighting, and then his dad shows up, having actually showed up partway into the fight and help save them. And yeah. So he shows up. Peter's gonna buy his shit at first, but Gamora convinces him to give him a chance. That was a big mistake. They go to the planet where Ego's on. The planet is him, and it's real. He is a Celestial. So, given the way he acts and talks, I have a feeling that he had the bad luck of being born after most of the Celestials are already dead. Because there's like that head of one in the last movie that had an entire mining station inside of it. They were mining it out that Celestial's internals. And meanwhile, Ego is another Celestial, and he's a planet. But he talks about being lonely and everything, about not knowing any other life. But we know there were other Celestials, so... Well, was he just born after most of them were wiped out? Were the rest even bigger douchebags than him? I don't know. But... he reveals the story of traveling, after building himself a body, first the planet, then an organic body, meets Quill's mom, falls in love, gets her pregnant, everything like that. A rather funny scene where Drax asks if he's got, that's about his penis. And of course, Peter Quill gets really fucking uncomfortable about all that shit. But, meanwhile, I believe at that point, Yondu, we catch up with Yondu, and the rest of the Ravagers in a strange space brothel. On a snowy planet. Yondu leaves and finds another guy wearing a similar outfit to him. The surprise Sylvester Stallone cameo. I was not expecting him at all in these movies, or in the MCU either. I was not expecting the law. I'm sorry. I've watching internet memes lately, but I was not expecting him to show up in this movie. And I really like the character, but I forget his name. That's one of the things I really like, the expansion on the Ravagers. Before, they were just generic space pirates, but now they're space pirates, true, but they have their own codes of honor, codes of conduct. They're actually not all that bad people. Except for the bunch that Yondu rolls with, because, well, he's kind of a rogue. Did some things that he didn't like and got exiled. I do like the fact that he calls it the wrong kind of, shit, I forget the exact line, I didn't write it down, the wrong kind of, disreputable, that's it, the wrong kind of disreputable establishment. But yeah, after a big argument and everything, the Sovereigns show up and hire Yondu and the Ravagers for a job. Because they're still kind of pissed. Well, all the things are happening on the one planet, bonding between Drax and Mantis, despite their very strangeness. Bonding between Peter and his dad. Shit all. Including later on the extremely cheesy scene of them playing catch. After mentioning kids getting to play catch with their dads. Hey. But, yeah. While all that's happening, and we get to see Quill try out his new old god powers. Oh, yeah, I also forgot to mention Nova's attempts to convince the others to let her escape, while Rocket continues to be a cantankerous asshole, trying to push all his friends away. And of course, the fact that she's hungry and wants this really good food they have, but they won't let her. Not partially because, she's a bitch, tried to kill them all before, but also partially because, they're not right. Yeah, that's where the scene leads up. Rocket's the one left behind to watch her ass and get the ship fixed, which, I'll stop that later. When the Ravagers show up, attempt to ambush him. He ambushes them and does a magnificent amount of absolutely hilarious damage before Yondu eventually manages to trap him. Yondu agrees not to hand him over to all die in exchange for the still very valuable shit he stole. But this gets many of his crew up in arms, including the normally loyal ones, because, well, he's constantly going out of his way to protect Quill and all that, even though he's betrayed them and left them several times by this point. And a lot of them, because they're the worst, kind of actual worst scum pirates, and not the semi-honorable kind that Ravagers usually are, They don't. Yeah, none of that shit. And draw weapons on the Undo. His people draw weapons on the other guys. And I love Rocket's reaction. Guys, I'm sure there's a peaceful solution to this. Or a violent one where I'm over there. But before we can get anywhere, boom! Nova shoots, okay, I'm pretty sure it's Noah by this point. Shoots the weird thin metal mohawk off of Yondu's head, knocking him unconscious. Probably because it hurts having your cybernetics torn out. Taking him out, and then shoots Rocket. She was let out by Groot, who she manipulated into freeing her because Rocket needed help. So yeah, Rocket and Yondu get captured. Most of Yondu's loyal men get killed, all except for one who's unquieted by the whole thing because he was one of the loyal ones. It's normally loyal ones. He was just the first guy to raise a stink about what Yondu was doing this time around, so he got left alive. But he's not even happy because those guys were his friends. But yeah. And I just love Rocket's riling of that guy up while he's messing with Yondu, the new leader of the pirates. Taserface! And Rocket's right, that is an absolutely terrible, terrible name. Just, why did you think that was a good idea? Hold on. Right, okay, so yeah. Rocket mocks him for it, and eventually gets all the other crewmen to laugh at how utterly stupid that name is, and how completely unintimidating it is. Which nearly gets him killing Rocket, instead of his former leader. Thankfully, Nova actually came through for them. Snark. Because, well, killing them would be pointless, after all. Why kill them when you could sell them for money? Rocket's one of the Guardians, so they should still get paid for turning him over, regardless. And Yondu's got his own bounties out there amongst the Kree. Toss them to them, and you all get paid a lot of money. All the other one was 10%, a new robo-arm. Oh, and I also forgot the most important part of Nova's little scene where she shoots at Rocket and Yondu. Strikes them and anything rolls. Triumphant into her freedom. Picks up that one piece of food she'd been wanting to eat throughout their entire flight to the crash. It's not right. I just love that. Just like that build-up. All that build-up. Like you'd see in a normal escape movie when either a hero or villain escapes and they get the same one little thing they've been trying to get from the guards the entire time. They get to enjoy it. Nope. The reason guards were giving it to her because it tastes like shit at the moment. You don't want to eat it. But yeah, she takes the ship, gets an arm, and reveals her plan. Use all that after getting her into Gamora, she'll use her new money to go and buy a big old fancy ship, fill them with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy, and try to murder Thanos. I do not think that's going to work out for her. Partly because, considering the timeline this happened in, and I'm going to get to that later, where it apparently fits in on the official timeline, and Infinity War happened, I'm just going to say she was successful. But yeah. Still, she gets her ship, she goes off, tracks down a planet, Meanwhile, on the planet, we have things like where Drax is looking at a pool of water, and is fancily designed pool of water, remembering something he did with his daughter, and even through the stony face, normal stony face look of the actor, you can feel and see how much remembering this hurts him. And of course, it's amplified by Mantis' touch, using her empath ability to read him, and immediately breaking down crying. This leads her to try to confess to Drax. Not something romantic, like Hughes thought, but that Peter Quill isn't the first of Ego's children, just the first to have his powers. And that now that he's here, Ego's going to fulfill his plan to wipe out all other life in the galaxy, and by spreading himself via space fungus. She doesn't reveal that just yet, though. She hesitates when Gamora appears. But, yeah. Still, let's see, what happens next? Right, yeah. Gamora and Peter have a fight because she's unnerved and thinks something's wrong. He's happy he's found his family, his dad, after all these years. And I do agree. She was the one. If any of the others had raised it, he might have listened. But considering she's both the one who, sorry, I'm stretching. Need to stretch there for a moment. Both the one who pushed him to come here in the first place. This is kind of plus her general rejection of his romantic advances, despite the fact that he and they both know it was and is an unspoken thing between them. Literally their words. But yeah, she goes out, storms out after that, sits in the middle of the field, and then Nova shows up, fucking shoots at her on his plane, and chases her into a tunnel, crashes the the ship into the tunnel, all while trying to shoot her until eventually she gets stuck. Then Gamora goes and shows off how strong she is by picking up the gun battery from the ship and using it like a rapid-fire rocket launcher. Their fight eventually ends with Nova on the edge of killing her before she surprisingly spares her. This ties into actually the prequel comic that was actually released for the movie, because they occasionally do that, Marvel, where it was revealed, the same thing she revealed there. They were made to fight a lot as a child, and Gamora always won. And whenever she did, a part of Nova was taken to make her stronger. Like, there's a scene of her getting stuck in a webbing trap, and the only way out is to carve her own arm off. Even though all she wanted was a sister out of the deal. She wanted to work with Gamora. Both of them tried to survive, but Gamora, as a kid, was perfectly happy throwing her under the bus every day. So it's kind of understandable why she'd be pissed. And why she'd be so happy at finally kicking Gamora's ass. Perfectly understandable. But yeah. course, as they're finally pulling themselves up, they notice a light and go after it, which is, of course, where we find out what Ego's real plan is. That's where he was storing the corpses of his many children. Right at the point that, but yeah, they storm back. Mantis reveals to them after nearly being killed by at least being strangled by a angry Gamora. Where it's revealed that's happened. They go and try to stop Ego from turning Peter to his side, which, I should mention, almost worked if it wasn't for the fact that the short-sighted douchebag had revealed that not only does he plan on wiping out all life in the galaxy, but he also put a tumor in it, and he gave Peter's mom cancer. He went from, in his dazed state, trying to help Dad, actually wanting to help him, to rage and overpowering it and shooting him a bunch of times. It was great. Of course, then he just got turned into a living battery to do it anyways. Which is when those powers all explode into space fungus, blue space fungus. Meanwhile, back on Yondu's ship, they try to make an escape attempt. They send Groot to get his backup fin, Mohawk thing, so he can control his needle. Groot, and the end result is Groot pulling off the classic gag where you send the dumb or simple-minded animal to go get the thing you need, but they don't understand what you're saying, so they keep bringing back the wrong thing. Which eventually leads to the second, because they're free. I actually kind of forgot about this moment for moments there. I completely lost my shit with this movie. This was the funniest to me. Groot comes back after a dozen attempts to bring the fin, including someone's cybernetic eye. What's he bring with him this time? It's a toe. It's someone's toe. It's not a fake toe. It's not a cyborg toe. It's a very fleshy toe. And the Ravagers don't have a ship cooler full or a fridge full of body parts. Both Yondu are so freaked out they just agree not to mention it and send Groot to try again. Like, what the hell happened? How did Groot get someone's toe rip someone's toe off, cut someone's toe off without them noticing? Holy shit. Eventually, though, he figures out something that will actually get him to figure out what to get. He pulls the patch, the Ravager patch, off his coat and hands it to him and tells him to find the drawer with it on it. Groot misunderstands him and thinks he's telling him to wear the hat. Because I am Groot. He hates hats. I am Groot. One moment you think you're looking at someone's weirdly shaped and bald head, and then bam, it's a hat. That's his reasoning. Rock is just as confused as everyone else. But they push on, send him. He actually managed to find the drawer after looking back and forth a lot. Sees the fin, reaches for it, and then pulls out something beside it that isn't the fin. Thankfully, like I said, the one guy whose friends got killed, but he didn't, proves his loyalty by helping it for the captain. So, Yondu and Rocket, who are fast becoming buddies in here, escape, tearing their way for the ship, and dear God, that needle is impressive. Not only is it really fast, like, the last movie didn't really do a good job conveying its sheer speed. This movie did a great job with everyone falling slow with the fact that killing a bunch of people before the bodies could even hit the ground. It can easily puncture through ship hull, and yeah, it's really impressive for something that is controlled via whistling. But, yeah. He basically slaughters nearly the entire ship alone with it. Rocket eventually starts shooting people too. And then we get to Taserface. Tries to stab him with the burning needle, which is another neat addition to it. It can set itself on fire, and he missed, but he still basically blew up the entire spaceship with it, setting the entire thing. Unfortunately, Taserface still managed to get a last moment of revenge by calling up the Sovereign and telling them what happened. They've been betrayed again, and only ask that they tell Yondu before they kill him who sold him out. Taserface! And of course, the Sovereign laughed her ass off. So he doesn't even get that in his last moments. But yeah, they escape in a chunk of the ship, which was prepared by the traitor guy. Metal Teeth, that's it, Metal Teeth, because he's got metal teeth. Whereupon Rocket flies the ship to Ego to get Peter and the others. Because he's figured out, despite Yondu avoiding saying it, that something's bad's going to happen to Peter. And that Yondu knew about it. They jump through an unbelievable number of jump points. More than the body can safely... vastly more than the body can safely handle. And then, of course, the third funniest thing in this movie, and the best Stan Lee cameo ever occurred. Stan Lee cameos as Stan Lee in a spacesuit, talking to 3 of the Watchers, aka that one guy from the comics who lives on the moon, his species. And what do I mean by he's cameoing as Stan Lee? He's literally telling them about all the story about all the different times cameos he made in the movies. And as far as I can tell, it seems to heavily imply, or outright state, that each of those cameos was actually Stan Lee in the universe. Sorta. Oh, and a reminder, one of them did die, I believe. And I love that. I laugh so much at that. Not as much as the Gruto thing, because with that, I was outright crying from how hard I was laughing. But it was hilarious, nonetheless. Especially loved it came up in again in the end. But, yeah. Things continue. After that point, they get to the planet. Just as things are really heating up on the planet. I've got the events and orders in the movie just a bit mixed up. Everyone's rushing to stop Ego and save Peter. He's rushing there. And doesn't even know Ego is also the planet. And when they get there, just before they do everything, there's this big thing between him and Rocket and Yondu, where Yondu basically points out that he understands everything that Rocket Raccoon is and is doing his whole asshole stick because it's the same, because they're the exact same type of people. He reveals how he started as a Kree slave, and he was sold into it by his parents before he was taken in by the Ravagers, before he basically did what Rocket is doing to the Guardians to them. And, after that, they go in for the big rescue and smash Ego, allowing, Peter to be free. They get on the ship, barely manage to escape after that point, before they go dive into the planet to destroy the core and brain and soul, whatever, of, Ego, at Peter's insistence. To save the galaxy and everything. Unfortunately, partway into the fight, the Sovereigns show up and mess things up even further. They manage to drill a good chunk of the way into the internals of Ego's sphere of protection around his brain, but they get attacked and have to dodge him. Can I say I really like the way their point defense / laser cannon thing works? Adjustable point defense is a really good idea. I want to talk about the tech after this, but yeah. So they fight out, manage to, with Nova's help, destroy all the Nova ships because they're not actually there. Partway into the fight, Ego recovers and manifests down there, but from a surprising amount of encouragement from Dax, Mantis manages to use her empath abilities to force Ego to sleep for a while. And it works! Right up until a piece of debris brains her and knocks her unconscious. He wakes up, everyone gets their shit wrecked. After a short fight where Drax and Mantis manage to make it to the surface. Before, finally, Peter manages to figure out how to control his celestial powers, and we enter a slug match between him, while Brew, in the funny trailer moments, sets up a bomb that will kill Ego, and then they all escape. And when I say silly, there's a moment when Ego forms a giant rock version of himself and flies Superman style at Peter, and Peter has formed a giant rock Pac-Man, complete with sound effects. Waka 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 waka. And then they smash each other, and just like, it's so stupid. But, yeah. Everyone retreats, except Yondu, who stays to get Peter. Problem is, there's only one spacesuit and one arrow suit. And once the planet blows up, Peter loses his abilities, which includes his newfound ability to fly. And his suit got wrecked by that point. So everyone's escaped. The bomb goes off. It kills Ego, who's desperately trying to save himself at that point. But Peter managed to distract him long enough to kill him. He reveals that once he's dead, Peter will lose his powers, which I'm not sure I completely believe. I mean, if he's truly a Nazcan Celestial himself, then shouldn't it, in theory, lead to him developing these powers eventually? Maybe he might not live long enough, but theoretically he could still have those abilities. And even then, he probably still has whatever it was that would allow him to wield the Infinity Stone for a while. admittedly, that was partially the power of friendship, but even then, that only worked because of his celestial blood. But, yeah. The planet's tearing itself apart from the inside out. Yondu grabs him, puts the spacesuit on, and they fly out of the atmosphere of the destroyed planet. And while Yondu finally says how proud he was of Quill, because Quill had basically become his son. Even if he wasn't the greatest of father, was trying to feed him to the crew, eat him and everything, he did actually try his best. I mean, they had loads of issues, but in the end, he was a good father and everything. And then he sacrificed himself, which I was not expecting Yondu to die, especially after all his character development. It's like Quicksilver. I did not expect it. I did not expect this. I tried to do Quicksilver's accent. I failed. But yeah. Yondu dies, they scoop him up. They give him a strange little Viking style funeral. The other Ravagers show up. All the other companies of Ravagers, with all their leaders, show up. Give their own little funeral to him as he's birth ash and spread through the cosmos. A proper Ravager funeral and all that. And then Metal Teeth reveals that he has one last gift from Yondu for Peter to replace his destroyed rock band, which was destroyed by his dickhole of a dad after he rightfully got angry at him for killing his mom. Especially since the asshole claimed to actually legitimately love her. He claims if he didn't kill her, then he would have eventually given up on his quest, and since it was the most important thing in his life, well, like I said, asshole. And how are people I said earlier? The dude's plan was to spread himself out the universe. He didn't need to kill everybody to do it. He could have done it in a far... And he didn't, and as proven with Peter, he didn't even need to, technically need another Celestial Sapien to do it. He could literally just track down, figure out, study Peter until he could figure out what went right, maybe his human DNA, go back to Earth, and just pop out a dozen new children. Or hundreds of children over the centuries. He's got the time. Suddenly there's an entire race of Celestial Sapiens. I was gonna say Celestial Sapiens, but Celestials. Problem fucking solved, asshole! Yeah, he's a shitbag. But, yeah. But... yeah. Gives him the final gift from Yondu. Azun! The latest thing all the people of Earth are listening to. It's called 3,000 Songs. I mean, to be fair, that's probably more than my current phone can hold. But that's because I've got other crap on here. If I removed everything else, I probably could have fit 3,000 songs on here, plus every other function of a phone. And that's because this is basically a shitty free phone I get because I'm handicapped. But yeah, he's still trailing behind the times. I'm going to admit, I was really sad when I saw the Walkman get destroyed. Really sad. But, in turn, he gives Penalties the needle, the repaired needle, and telling him how Yondu would like him to have it. Melty thanks him and calls him Captain. Gamora and him, I believe, have a moment right about there. Then Nova leaves, but right before she does, Gamora hugs her and tells her that she was just trying to stay alive herself. And she lived with the regret of doing what she did to her and everyone else, and that's why she does what she does. She wants to help and protect other people, other children, from going through what they went through. And invites Nova to stay with them to become a guardian, like Yondu was in his last moments. She says the way she'll do that is killing Thanatos, and even if it doesn't work, she has to try. So she leaves. After that, we get 3 post-credit scenes. First, a continuation of Stanley talking to the Watchers as they proceed to leave him sitting there, having never finished his tale, all his stories, telling all his stories, and here's his only ride back. Next, a trip into Groot's new room. He's become a teenage Groot. And I have to admit, listening to Groot's teenage style, I am Groot. Sarcastic, I am Groot, replies is hilarious. I'll be honest, after the last movie, I figured Groot would return to who he was over time by regrowing. I was not actually expecting that he'd basically go through the life cycle all over again. Now, I suppose that makes sense. Even if a human could do that, but we had to go through the life cycle all over again. And even if we were decades old by that, 30 years old by that point, we'd still end up acting like stupid teenagers once we hit teenagehood again. And given how simple Groot can be at times, it's not surprising he'd end up like that, now that I actually thought about it. And finally, the last one. We see the High Priestess of the Sovereign's religion, or whatever, looking like a disheveled mess. Which is actually hilarious, considering all their shit about being perfect and all that. And the council and everything, or whatever they're called, are angry at her for wasting so much resources trying to kill the Guardians. And failing. Only for it to be revealed that she's come up with a new plan that not only will help them destroy the Guardians, but is something they can all agree on, since they're all about becoming more and more perfect. She calls it Adam. And we didn't get a look at it, but given it's a new sovereign being grown in an artificial machine, and given what happened, I have a bad feeling that she's basically found a way of growing a new celestial, or at least something minorly empowered by celestial abilities, given everything that happened. Because that's the only thing I can think. But whatever it is, it's not good for the Guardians, but it will be post-Infinity War. Because, well, I already know they show up in Infinity War in the trailers, so it would make no sense to have another sequel/prequel event at this point. And timeline shenanigans. One thing I wanted to talk about. this is supposed to happen shortly after the first Guardians movie. But no, there has been no mention of that fungus shit from in any of the movies that take place on Earth. You'd think it'd be mentioned in something. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I suppose that's a side effect of at least that point in time. The people behind Agent of either the TV shows or the movie not giving a shit about the TV shows. Supposedly it's all connected, but it's clearly clear that only the shows pay attention to the movies, at least at the point in time during season 4 of S.H.I.E.L.D. and pre-Defenders. I don't know if things changed by the time the Defenders came out, but yeah. It's stupid and I hate it. Because, you know, part of the reason I enjoy watching that stuff is their connectivity, but whatever. Too, another thing I really like about both this and the other movie, but I'm especially noticing this movie, is how advanced technology in the universe is. I mean, if you actually think about it, you'll realize that basically all of it puts anything Tony Stark has made up to this point to shame. Nothing he has built has reached the limits, even the basic gear capabilities of shit in the galaxy. Like, the Aero Pack, the way that works, Tony struggles to put a glove, more than a glove, in a watch size shape. This thing is a little bit bigger, but it contains an entire chest plate. And it just, energy glows into it, into existence. An entire chest plate of armor plus flight capabilities. And I like that because that's one of the things I know about the comics is as hot shit as Iron Man is on Earth, he's basically a hillbilly with his cobbled together shit when he's in space. Hurry. I'll be honest, at this point, I'm kind of hoping Yondu and Quicksilver and such will be retconned back to life post-Infinity War, because of the way Infinity War works. Also, considering what happens in Infinity War, like, I haven't had things spoiled, but I know about at least one death in that movie. And there's just no way that character would die permanently at this juncture. I'm not going to say any more in case you haven't seen Infinity War either. And I don't want to encourage people to talk to me about it either until I've actually watched it. But, okay, my throat's getting sore and I think it's time to wrap up. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with Spider-Man Homecoming real soon. But this is HighPriest signing out, and I'll see you all next time, folks.